Have you been wondering how to make logging into your app as easy as using just a single tap? Well, today we are going to do just that. In this video, we are going to supercharge our Firebase authentication by adding Google Sign In. Say goodbye to the need to remember password. With just a few clicks, user can log in with their Google account. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it step by step. Before we dive into code, let's talk about what Google Sign-In is and why it is useful. So Google Sign-In allows users to log into their account with their existing Google account credential. It is faster and easier than creating a new account or remembering another password. So let's look at the important. It is convenience because people already use Google Sign-In, for example, their Gmail, their YouTube and Play Store accounts. So signing in with Google is quick and easy. It also leverages on Google security like two-factor authentication and then account recovery. So if you are building a social media application, productivity application, or games, you can benefit from implementing this Google Sign-In that enable user to use just one click and then select their existing Google account and then log in into your application. As easy as that. So let's dive into code now and see how to add this to our project. First up, you need to make sure your project is properly connected to Firebase and authentication service is enabled. So head over to Tools and then select Firebase. From the Firebase window, select Authentication. Now select Authenticate using Google and then add the SDK to your project. Accept these prompts. So it is done. Head over to the Firebase console. Select your project and then select Authentication. Select Sign In method. And then click on Add New Provider. So select Google, enable, and then save. So when you click on the Google Sign In, you get a notice here that it is important to add SHA1 fingerprint to your project. This is required to authenticate requests from your app to Firebase. So how do you get your SHA1? Come to Android Studio and select this Gradle icon here, just below the notification icon. Click on it. And then come to execute Gradle task. From the Gradle task, type Gradle signing report. And then press enter. So this will generate the SHA1 for you. So copy your SHA1. This is your SHA1. Head over to your Firebase console. Select the project and then select project settings. So from the project settings, get to the down here, you see add fingerprint. So click on add fingerprint and then paste your SHA1 here. Then you save. Now download this JSON file. As you enable the Google Sign In and then added the SHA1, your JSON file has been updated. So you need to download the new version. Replace the one in your project with a new one. So this is in my download folder and then I'll take it and replace the one in my app folder. So I'll replace that one and that's all. You can sync the project. So change the run from signing report to your app. So now you are done over here. So let's dive into code. The first thing we have to do is to add that button to our project. So come to below this test button and then add a new button for the Google Sign In. Now let's run it and see the new changes. So now we have our button here. So let's handle when the user click button. So come below here and then create a helper function. So it's just a helper function that will call when the button is clicked. So to create that, make sure it is private suspend function and then give it sign in So we'll pass some few parameters. The first one is the context. We need the context. Secondly, we need the nav controller, because when user is able to sign in successfully, we want to navigate to the home screen. So you pass the nav controller. Inside the function, you create an instance of Credential Manager. So this is a new API from Google that is used for authentication. So next, set up the Google sign-in request. So create another variable called Google ID option, which will be equal to Google ID option dot builder. And then you set the server client ID. To get this server client ID, you go back to your console, and then inside your console, select sign in method. Under the sign in method, select the Google sign in. Click on web SDK configuration. You see the client ID, so copy it and then paste here. And then also set the filter by authorized account, and then set it to false. This tells the Credential Manager to allow all Google accounts, not just the one that were previously signed in to the app. Then call build. Now create a request object that contains the Google sign-in credentials. Then add the credential option, in this case Google sign-in, and then call the build method. Now we can start the flow for authentication. So you put it in a try catch block, and then the error will be get credential exception. So we want to log the error over here, and then inside the try block, so this is where we make the request. So call the Credential Manager and then get the credential, pass the context, and then also pass the request. Now retrieve the token from the credential. Now we need the token. Pass that token for authentication. Pass the Google Auth provider get credential, and then pass the ID, and then pass. Now that you get a credential from the Credential Manager, you use that credential with Firebase to authenticate the user. So you call Firebase Auth, and then call sign in with credentials, and pass the credential. Now we need to add a listener to, so we just have to check if the task is successful. If it's successful, then we navigate to the home screen. Otherwise, we log the error. And now let's call this function when our button is clicked, and then we pass the context, and then pass the nav controller. So this is a suspend function, so we need to call it from a coroutine. So to do that, we can create a coroutine scope and then wrap it around this. To do that, come to the top here and then create a scope, which is remember coroutine scope. We can wrap our function inside that scope. So scope.launch, and the error is gone. So now let's run application and test it. So now when you click on the button, let's see how. So now we got the option to use our account, and then we can continue. Okay, so we are taking home successfully. So that's all. So this one leverages on the Firebase authentication. So you need to enable the Firebase authentication first of all, and then you add the Google sign in. So you click here to log out. But to completely log out, we have to clear the credential from the Credential Manager. So you come to the home screen. So inside the home screen, we need an instance of the Credential Manager. So I'll just copy and paste this one here. We also need the context. Copy the context from here. Inside the button, what you need to do is you have to clear the Credential Manager before you log out. So to do that, you call the Credential Manager and then call clear credential state, and then you pass clear credential state request. So this is also a suspend function. Then you need that coroutine scope. So you can copy the coroutine scope and then wrap the whole thing inside the coroutine scope. I'll wrap this whole thing inside the coroutine scope. For best practices, you can put this whole thing in a try catch block. So let's try it. If it fails, then we catch it here. So this is clear credential exception, and then we just log some error message. Let's run the application and test it. Select the button and then select the user account. Continue, and then you are taken to the home screen. Welcome. So on logout, you also log out successfully. And that's it. You've successfully added Google Sign-in to your application. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave any question or comment below. See you in the next one.